Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. Lucasfilm have not been shying away from connecting various projects across the Star Wars timeline. Aside from the obvious links between The Mandalorian and its spin-offs, the Jedi Fallen Order sequel Survivor is also set to have tie-ins to other projects, such as The Bad Batch with Mount Tantiss, which we're gonna see in Season 2, but which is also believed to be where the cloning tank that Cal Kestis is looking at is situated. There may be some other shows too, like Kenobi and even Andor. Well, as we anticipate the release of Andor Episode 10 on Wednesday, it was 2 weeks ago in Episode 8 that a subtle mention might have linked the show to the upcoming Fallen Order sequel in a pretty massive way. In the scene where Luthen tries to convince Saw Gerrera to join the wider rebel factions and not be such an isolationist, Saw goes on a tangent listing the various rebel cells who he thinks lack clarity of purpose. Amongst them is Anto Kreegyr, who he calls a separatist. Now, while Kreegyr is a new name to Star Wars canon, we can only assume that the separatists Saw is talking about are a continuation of the CIS, the Confederacy of Independent Systems from the Clone Wars. Just as when Palpatine eventually dies and the Empire falls, pockets of Imperial remnants exist across the galaxy, pockets of separatist sympathizers also existed after the Clone Wars too, despite most of them being wiped out at the end of the Clone Wars. Now, the mention of separatist pockets still existing is huge and has major implications of the political landscape and activity in the early Imperial era that we're probably going to see in Jedi Survivor. Some early leaks, as well as early information about action figures for the game, reveal that recommissioned battle droids and rebuilt Magna Guards that Grievous used in Revenge of the Sith are going to feature as the guards of a mysterious primary villain to Cal Kestis. Now, could this villain be Anto Kreegyr, or maybe a rebuilt General Grievous like NK Necrosis from the EU, or some sort of other separatist remnant who still believes in the values of the CIS? Who else and why else would these droids be rebuilt? I believe this mention in Andor was a direct precursor to who we might come across in Jedi Survivor, as it tells us what other political groups are around during the early Imperial era. Now, if separatist factions exist at this time, they're more likely to be rogue, angered by the regime and what Palpatine and Vader did to the CIS leaders on Mustafar, and they probably also have more radical ideas. We'll just have to wait and see. Of course, one of Kreegyr's pilots was seized by the Empire in Episode 9, so perhaps we'll meet this separatist remnant's leader in the show. But as I say, my dear friends, I do think there's a connection between the two projects. Share your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you always.